And with that, we will move to the next story, which is the volcano that erupted in Ohio. It's a serious thing. No, when I saw this, first off, that's what I was like, okay, that's BS. That's not a real picture. I've seen Dante's Peak. Okay, and that's what's going on. You see the the really wide shot, which I didn't bring in here. When I first saw the stories last week and they said this explosion in Palestine, I was like, all right, what are the Jews up to this time? That's what I thought it was talking about. I saw the thing and I was like, I'm sick of this Israel-Palestine conversation. Like, we're not covering that. And so that's why I think a lot of people didn't talk about it at first, because they didn't want to come out in support of Palestine.
I didn't know there was a volcano in Palestine. Yeah.
I think that was the issue. So in all seriousness, though, this was bad. Train derailed. Everyone knows the story because it's currently Tuesday and it's February 14th and this happened 11 days ago. Okay, so
11 days?
February 3rd is when the train
But we didn't know about
derailed.
it until this weekend.
Well, we knew about the thing, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, this isn't good. This stuff could blow up, so they evacuate people, and then the stuff, they burn it up, I would say, late last week is when this stuff's happening.
Oh, this is a controlled burn.
Controlled burn right here. This was intentional.
Controlled volcano.
Yes.
Yeah.
Controlled burn. And we'll talk about that a little bit. The theories are so fun online. A lot of fun theories out there. And we wanted to go through some of the information that has come out. So we'll talk about some of these things. I wanted to start this off with this article talking about how the railroad, this is Norfolk Southern out there. Now, this first story says that the railroad is offering just $5 per resident after derailment caused toxic mushroom cloud.
Which, by the way, would not be Warren Buffett's railroad company.
No, that is the
Union.
BNSF, what I don't know what that all stands for.
BSNF.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now, this headline and part of the story, I would say slightly misleading, but don't worry, we're going to hand it to the railroad. I think that they need to pay out the ass, as they say, as for all of this. So we're not trying to defend them, but this article actually explains a few things pretty well. Norfolk Southern, the company that was responsible for emitting the toxic vinyl chloride, has offered a $25,000 donation to assist the area's population of nearly 5,000 people, which works out to only $5,000 per person. It's not enough.
$5.
It's $5. What did I say?
5,000.
Oh, 5,000, still not enough.
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot of money, I bet. I would hope it's going to be a lot of money. A press release from the railroad company read, quote, "We have established a family assistance center to address the needs of the community and support those directly impacted. Additionally, we are supporting the efforts of the American Red Cross and their temporary community shelters through a $25,000 donation."
So they're donating to the Red Cross.
Yes.
Not to the people.
To help with this temporary community shelter. Now, this was portrayed as what they offered as a payout for people's troubles, even by people like Nina Turner, who, thanks, Nina, for the retweets and the comments and everything over the weekend.
That was so nice.
Another thing over the weekend, one of our videos did pretty well. You said you saw it had a pretty good amount of views. I don't remember what it had.
For Twitter, yeah, it was like 80 to 100,000, somewhere around there.
On just a contrast, on average, we're at like 80 to 100. So that was nice of Nina to retweet. It's one of the most productive things she's ever done. We do appreciate that.
You're spicy today.
Okay, so where was I? After the derailment on the 3rd of February, a controlled release of vinyl chloride was made to prevent a potential explosion.
I like how the article puts controlled release in quotes.
Yeah. Vinyl chloride is an odorless and hazardous chemical compound that, when burned, creates hydrogen chloride, which is extremely volatile. It can also produce a phosgene, possibly, a gas that was used as a chemical weapon in World War I. Now, you got to be careful with stuff like this, and we'll discuss this when we go through some of the Twitter posts. I'm not saying it can't produce phosgene, a chemical weapon, which was used as a chemical weapon in World War I, but different concentrations of things can be used in different ways. So just because something has formaldehyde in it doesn't mean that that's gonna kill you, or whatever the thing, cyanide in it or whatever. Just because you see that doesn't mean that that's something that's just gonna kill you. In fact, different concentrations of these things are used in everyday products and drinks and all sorts of stuff that we have. I'm not saying that's the case with this. I think they screwed up, and I think that the people of this town need to end up owning the rail company.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want to give in to easy stuff like this. Oh, this chemical is this gas is used as a chemical weapon in World War I.
You're saying there should be a real market consequence.
There needs to be a market consequence.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And they probably won't do this again.
No.
If there is one.
No, the cost-benefit analysis was off, and it needs to be adjusted by the people of this town and everyone else that's going to be affected by this thing. The gas remains in the air and has links to liver and neurological damage and other cancers, the CDC says. According to WKBN, the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the derailment, and a federal lawsuit has also been filed by many of the East Palestine residents. Government officials did tell residents of the Ohio, Pennsylvania that were evacuated. Is that worded weird, or am I just...
That's worded weird.
Okay.
Terrible article.
It's a really awful article.
There's a few times in here it's been absolutely atrocious.
I know. It's not my fault.
You've been doing a fine job.
The government officials told people they could go back home based on the air quality samples. The Ohio EPA said the area's drinking water is safe for consumption. Still, concerns are prevalent with those people who do not trust the experts and the government that has told them that everything is completely safe.
I didn't even think about that. They're not trusting the experts.
It's totally fine to question all of them right now.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine. Let's soak it all up right now. Concerns are prevalent, with some residents finding dead fish, among other things. The company has a history of going against safety protocols. Since 2017, the company has cut jobs by more than a fifth, disregarding concerns that understaffing can cause railway safety to diminish. So we'll discuss all of those ideas here in a bit.
I didn't even think about that part of it, though, how they're questioning the experts. People who said that quality's fine.
The government said it's fine.
You can drink the water.
But it's because of Elon Musk's Twitter that these people are still able to spread disinformation out there, saying that we should be concerned about the chemicals in the air after the EPA said that everything's fine. Come on. It's terrible.
Which, by the way, we're on the side of people being able to question those things. We should that should just be blanket across the board.
Yeah. Can drink the water, the air, not so much. That's what Big Gus said. We'll talk about the water stuff here in a bit. I'm telling you.
You can drink air. It just makes you burp a little.
This has been some of the craziest BS and information to try and wade through.
First
on a
of all,
story.
Ohio doesn't even have volcanoes.
No, they don't. And I saw the picture. That's the damn volcano. All right.
That's a big science experiment for that kid's science fair.
Now, what do you put together to make it like vinegar and
science fair gone wrong? This is what this is.
What is it, like cornstarch or something? I don't remember what it is. It makes everything blow up. Baking soda.
Our live group, by the way.
The Fed Haters
Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what actually it looks like happened. What I was wondering is, why did this train derail? You see all the stuff I got pulled up out here. We're going to be combing through some of this today. Why did the train derail? It looks like someone was shooting fireworks off underneath it. Now, it looks like there's an axle burning up, wheel bearing, something like that, locked up. And so you can see a fire happening under the train that was caught on a security camera.
I'm on fire.
As it goes through. Yes.
Help
and
me.
Tom Cruise wasn't there to stop this. Winfrey wasn't there. No. And so that's what happened. And then they tried to stop the train.
It just lost all rail control.
It did. They tried to stop the train. And because of corporate greed and Donald Trump, those two things combined together, the train tried to stop, and it couldn't stop. It actually pancaked itself off the tracks. Now, it was using the air brake system, which is from like 1880 or something like that. Seriously, something like that for the trains. Like right around, you got trains, you got air brakes. Okay, same time frame. It was still using that, even though they've got these new electronic brakes that are better at stopping the train. Like you can hit the button and all of the cars try to stop at the same time, while air brakes, they start at the front and work their way to the back. And as you can imagine, that creates a lot of momentum pushing towards the front of the train. And that's why you can have this derailment.
It'd be better if it started at the back and went to the front.
That would be better.
Yeah.
Would actually be better.
Although you would cause some strain on pulling.
Yeah.
Of the links.
But I mean, worst case scenario, parts of the train, you got to go back there and get them.
Right.
You know,
right.
Like that seems way better.
Yeah, it does. We should be train engineers.
I know. Why didn't they talk to us first? Well, they got a system that stops every train car at the same time the brakes go on. That sounds pretty good. It's not as good as our from the back up or middle out, like what Biden would want to do.
Right.
Okay.
They should have stopped the train from the middle out.
That would have been way better.
Yeah.
Than from the top, the trickle-down train brakes.
Don't work.
Don't.
Clearly.
Why is this so funny today to talk about?
It clearly doesn't work. We saw it on video right there.
All right, so that's one part of this that happened. And let me go to...
Bailey's got a good suggestion here, too, real quick. If they just need some essential oils.
Would that help?
Should we donate diffusers?
I got one right here.
It's doTERRA?
Yeah, doTERRA.
You think doTERRA will sponsor East Palestine, Ohio?
If they care about liberty, they will.
Yeah, if they care about clean air.
You can diffuse the situation. Right here.
Yeah. Now, this is terrible for what happened to these people, but...
Yeah.
You know.
There's nothing funny about it. That's where we come in.
That's exactly.
You know, we're solving the problem right now about it being so serious. Hey, congrats to the Mises Caucus party page for having a big viral tweet associated with this, posting a video that had a lot of disinformation in it. That was pretty good. But, I mean, like 20,000 retweets on there, about 9 million views on this video, or on the post, over 3 million views on the video so far. They say the train derailment in Ohio is currently emitting massive amounts of carcinogenic compounds in the air. This alone would be enough to be interesting, but it seems there is more to the story. Norfolk Southern seems to be operating hand in hand with the government in this area, going so far as to arrest reporters covering certain details of the incident. That is not true. I'll go and call them out on that. It's pretty clearly evident what happened with the reporter.
Well, these are domestic terrorists they're probably arresting that aren't going along with what the government says is safe.
Yeah. There was a reporter that was arrested. We'll talk about about that here in a minute, but we can play the video that they had. It's got some good stuff in it. Where is the Libertarian Party's page? Here we go. Let's see what they got.
Friday, 20 of them carrying hazardous materials as flames lit up the sky in northeastern Ohio.
The evacuation order is in place for anyone within a mile radius of the crash site.
These aren't storm clouds. This is the fucking shit! The fucking shit they burn off in East Palestine! This is not fucking storm clouds!
That's what I was talking about. I was like...
He started so calm.
He did.
Yeah.
That escalated quickly.
He went past double rainbow guy.
He went way out there.
Yeah, I thought first I was like, this is another double rainbow guy.
Mm-hmm.
All the way across the sky.
Look at that.
He's like, these are not storm clouds. They're fucking shit!
Now I would be upset.
He Alex Jones that.
I would be upset if I was over there too. I would.
Look at it!
That was a part of the reporter getting arrested. We got dead fish in the water. We got a map.
Officials are claiming that the air and water
Someone
are safe.
said Chernobyl.
Residents say they can still smell chlorine. They've complained about their eyes watering when they go outside. And one woman says the noxious air killed her chickens.
Out of nowhere, he just started coughing really hard and just shut down and went very fast.
Look at all these fucking crows. I'm not kidding. This is within 10 miles of East Palestine.
Okay.
I see a bunch of domestic terrorists questioning the government there.
Yeah. I mean, they said everything's fine. This is the only way that they could deal with it. I don't know what else you want. Okay, so there's a few things in there. I told you about the birds video. That wasn't the one that I was thinking of. Here's my problem, and the same problem you had with everything, too. A lot of this stuff, now there's dead fish out there. I'm not questioning that. Birds probably don't like all this stuff. Birds are sensitive to different things. That's why we keep a bird in the house for when the batteries go dead and the carbon monoxide detector, okay?
Exactly.
It's a canary in a coal mine type thing that's in our house. And so, yeah, birds don't like the stuff. It's also so easy to fake all of this. You could take any news clips off of YouTube that you want. You take any picture of a dead animal. You could take any picture of anything and be like, look at this. Look at this stuff on the floor over there.
I could take a picture of my dog's eye boogers in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And say, 600 miles from Ohio. My dog didn't have this before the train wreck.
And probably go viral.
Yeah. And
I'll
it
turn
probably
this
will be viral.
Diffuser off right now.
It's
just blowing stuff up in the camera right there. Yeah. It smells good, though.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Gets rid of all the chemicals that are coming from Ohio right now.
And so I'm not saying any of that stuff is fake or whatever. You just got to be aware when you're looking at any of this, anything on the internet, that it's so easy to fake this stuff. Like the girl saying this is within 10 miles of East Palestine and there's birds flying around. Well, that happens a lot all over the place. Birds can be crazy. And you can just record a video saying that you're within 10 miles of East Palestine, Ohio. I'm not saying she was lying. I'm just saying I get so, I don't know. I get so worried anytime I look at any of those things. I guess I just don't believe anything I see on the internet.
Well, it's pandering to everyone's feelings,
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people take advantage of that. Some of this could be real. Some of it could be fake.
I'm sure a lot of it is real.
Kind of like the journalist.
The journalist thing, now I understand right at the first, and it fits the story so well. I get it. Right at the first, they arrest this journalist, and basically the narrative goes out that they're trying to cover this thing up. And look, they've even arrested a journalist who was trying to tell the truth, as if no one's out there talking about anything. What happened with this journalist? Now, what the cops said about it, the timeline of events I get is a little fuzzy. What actually happened was the cops told the guy to do something. He didn't want to do it, and they wanted to make sure he knew who was in charge. So they took it all the way to its conclusion of arresting the guy.
So you're saying missing context.
There's fact-check missing context.
Now, was he banned on Twitter for spreading disinformation?
No. In fact, he was released, and he's still reporting for the news outlet. Or it's a clone. They killed the guy in jail because he was telling the truth.
Still telling the truth.
That's one of the possible situations that's happening.
Now that you brought that comparison up, I can't get it out of my mind.
Which one?
It makes me so angry.
Which one?
The fact that these people are questioning government officials.
I know.
Like they can't put two and two together, And the people who are out there saying like, oh, I got banned on Twitter for telling the truth. And then, you're just thrown into this group of crazy domestic terrorists. I just can't get off of that now. It makes me so angry.
So here's what happened with this reporter. Just want to get this out there. The governor was supposed to go live with a press conference at like 3 p.m. And this guy was supposed to go live with his news channel. He was going to be doing their local news at 5 or whatever. He's supposed to be going live and tell him what's going on, what the governor said. Well, the governor didn't start his press conference at 3. The governor was late, and he didn't start it until like after 5 p.m. sometime. And so this guy goes on with his planned live broadcast, which happens to be in a basketball court length, small gym, sharing with the governor as he is giving his press conference that everyone's been waiting for this whole time. And so this guy starts standing up there talking while the governor is also giving his press conference. And so the cops go up there and they say, stop. You can see someone back there saying, no, stop doing this. You can hear the governor talking in the background. And basically the guy finishes, they go to commercial break, and And they don't like that the guy didn't listen to them, okay? And this is where maybe some of the cop thing starts to come in. They don't like that the guy didn't listen, and so they're upset about that. And so, of course, they end up pushing this further and further.
Out the door by other media right here. I'm gonna listen.
I don't care. You're gonna walk out the door.
I'm gonna listen.
You're gonna walk out the door.
Touch
Come on out, sir. You're gonna walk out the door.
Now, there's still a press conference going on, and there's a whole room full of press that's covering the story. And I guess what you, I'll just pause that on the be kind part right there. How about that?
They don't seem to be very kind to each other.
No, they're not being kind. And it's just fun to say, oh, there's such a big conspiracy. There's such a big cover-up going on that they're censoring journalists and arresting them for telling the truth. Now, the guy was broadcasting with his news channel. I assume whatever truth he told, we'd be seeing the clips of that going around all over the place. He was probably like, as you can see behind me, the governor's talking. Back to you.
Yeah.
And like that was the story.
How's it going inside? Yeah.
I'm in a gym where you can see there's other people that are in the gym.
Toxic chemicals floating.
Yeah, there's stuff out
flying
here.
by my face. It's real hellish out here, Bob.
Okay, so you just got to watch out for and then it's those pieces of the narrative that get me like, okay, are they overblowing this whole thing? Like, I get that stuff was blowing up and it looked really bad. But we also got to remember that, okay, that it's not still blowing up. Like when you see the pictures, like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is still happening in Ohio right now. Like, no, this is from several days ago. So, are they overblowing this whole thing? Is this just hysteria taking place on Twitter? I don't know.
It is crazy what things that get a hold of people.
I know. And it's fun to say that they're censoring people in the media. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. All right, where are we at on my big list of things
It's
to talk
Trump's
about?
fault.
We got the animals are dying. We talked about that. Destroy the water and food supply. Now, that's some of the stuff I've been seeing too. Like this is a continuation of the plan to destroy our water and food supply. And, of course, this stuff's going to get into water. It's going to destroy everything. It's going to destroy crops and all that.
Everything flows into the Ohio, and that's,
Now, what a lot of people have been getting wrong when they are talking about this is that these things flow. They flow into the Ohio. And the Ohio, it then flows into the Mississippi. And they combine together at this little town called Cairo in Illinois. Very, very tippy bottom of Illinois. And then
should have been a huge city.
Yes. Should have been.
Wasn't.
And then they flow down into the Gulf. Now, what everyone's counting, they're basically acting like the Ohio River flows out into all the other rivers that are connected to it. But those are what's called tributaries. They all flow into the Ohio, it doesn't flow back out, or there'd just be massive lakes and oceans right outside the Ohio River.
Y'all learn something new every day. Don't pass over that word there. It's very important. Tributaries there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We're talking about river waterways.
It's a funnel,
Yeah.
They all just funnel into the ocean. So that's one thing. You see pictures like this, and you're like, look at all these things that are going to be affected. Look at all the... I'm not saying that nothing's going to be affected because some of this stuff can evaporate and get into the rain. Then it goes out. I think it could be damaging for crops, definitely for fish, wildlife, even people. And as we will continue to say at the end of this episode, that's got to come up pretty quickly, I think that this company needs to pay out the ass for this. I think it needs to nearly destroy them. If destroy them, depending on, making sure that you find their damages. Now, Trump's fault. Is it Trump's fault? You saw that. You told me that you saw people saying that.
I did, yeah. Apparently Trump, cut back all the EPA regulations and gutted the EPA and
this is
knocked back regulations on train requirements and all this stuff.
So this is a problem of deregulation.
Yes.
That's happening right now. And there was, in fact, a rule that was put in place during the Obama administration that the Trump administration rolled back. And that is being blamed for the problem.
That was the brakes, the electronic brake.
Yes.
Braking system.
So they they have this rule that's going to require them to get the electronic brakes on their trains. Some of them that qualify for some of the hazardous materials. So that's important as well. And Trump did roll that back, and probably because the companies lobbied the hell out of them and paid for specific people to get in the positions of power and to take back some of these rules. I'm not saying that's not the case. There's a piece from the Lever News out here talking about all this. They talk about the rules that were put in place during the Obama administration, and they then talk about some other problems that I've not seen mentioned when people blame this on Trump. Okay. In 2015, the Obama administration issued a new transportation rule, which was far less stringent than the wide-ranging rule and wide-ranging than the safety advocates had demanded. The final regulation's definition of high-hazard flammable trains was not expanded as the NTSB requested, and the regulations applied only to trains of more than 20 of cars in a single block carrying hazardous materials or 35 located throughout the train. The rule did not require ECP braking for the subset of rail cars that would still be classified as high hazard flammable trains, an important step in pushing the rail, or it did require that for the ones that would be classified. However, this train was not classified as a high hazard flammable train.
Even by Obama standards.
Even by the Obama rule standards. The rule that the Trump administration rolled back would still not have covered this train because this substance, I already forgot the name of it, that is really bad, did not qualify under this rule. So even though you can post a news article saying that the Trump administration rolled back these safety precautions, this train still wouldn't have been under the Obama rules.
So it doesn't matter.
Still doesn't matter.
But that's the crazy left.
Yeah.
Blaming Trump. We have the crazy right.
Still got crazy right.
Blaming Biden. I know you have a few things in here. One of the ones I saw the most, I think, was the fact that gay Pete Buttigieg is the transportation secretary. And so since Biden, put someone there based on his LGBTQ plus status rather than somebody who knew something about transportation, it's all Biden's fault and gay.
Also
That's
gay, yeah.
The far right. I saw so many accounts.
And they're like, oh.
This is what happens when you have a gay transportation secretary. Like, what?
Now, I understand, okay, the guy is not qualified for the job. They'll say, I'm so sick of people saying, well, he was too busy taking the parental leave or whatever, what do they call it for dads?
Paid family leave.
Paid family leave. Yeah. Paternity leave. Yeah. Sorry. He was too busy taking that. I'm like, I get it. Like, that was funny. The guy was gone for like 2 months and no one even knew he was gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one thing. But also, you guys got to join the Fed Haters Club, okay?
I can't.
You really need to.
Oh, my God.
You really should. That's not why this happened. And even so, as libertarians, I don't blame Pete Buttigieg because I don't think his job should exist in the first place. So it's not his responsibility to make sure that this train wasn't going to derail because that's a stupid responsibility for people in the government to have.
Yeah, the far left and the far right are just so dumb.
But even then, it is dumb this guy was a diversity hire. He got nothing to do.
It's definitely
with
not
this
on
job.
Meritocracy whatsoever.
No,
yeah.
He was hired because he's gay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only reason.
But this didn't happen because he was gay.
No, it didn't happen because he's gay. Because this is a job. Who's responsible? It's the people whose job it is to facilitate this whole process. It's the company. That's who I think is responsible. Okay.
They're the ones who they have a fiduciary responsibility to transport hazardous chemicals in a safe way.
It's their job to do it.
Yes.
And to make sure it happens safely.
Yes.
Now, there's one other thing, I guess, before we get off of Biden here. We can talk about a few of these things. Okay, so not the Pete Buttigieg thing. Is it Biden's fault? Not really, although they did bust the union strike, the rail workers strike. Congress ended those negotiations, and it could be his fault for pushing the unions to the point that they intentionally caused this. 'Cause that's, You know, that I would lean most heavily on that, because I've seen plenty of gangster movies. And as I said a bunch of times, what people don't realize is that those gangster movies, like you've seen a lot of Robert De Niro or Ray Liotta or Joe Pesci and like these kind of guys, they were like union bosses and people who broke people's legs for unions. You know, they were people who blew up people's cars and shot up their houses for Jimmy Hoffa and union bosses.
You're saying this was a mafia mob?
I'm saying this is
design.
I'm saying this is what happens when unions don't get what they want, but not in the way people think. I mean that. I'm saying like this is them saying like, yeah, you see what happens? See what, you know?
This was an accident waiting to happen. You could have prevented this.
So now we've got, that's speculation. It's halfway a joke, although you're like, okay, 49% a joke. I'm 51% serious, but I have no proof. This train was gall darn long. It was 1.8 miles long. That's a lot.
I hate that.
That might even be longer than
talk about waiting for
Laverne.
school buses.
You know?
Waiting on trains is the worst.
I hate it.
There's one not far from my house. What's frustrating is getting to Parker School. It's like the fastest way to go goes over the train tracks. But all too often, there's a derailment. Right there, the train's just sitting there. It's 200 miles long, you know, and you can never get through there. This is a train just always sitting there.
Okay, so we got the union busting thing, and the other thing that makes me, I don't think it's Biden and Buttigieg's fault unless you think it's the government's responsibility to make sure the trains don't derail. So that's one thing. But the weird silence from Biden, Buttigieg did post a tweet thread last night about this whole thing, and so that happened. But a lot of silence from these people. It's been a rough year for the Department of Transportation. I'll tell you that. A rough rolling year. I know it's only February right now. Still a rough year, I guess. Okay, the other part that I thought was important in here, I forgot the screenshots. These electronic brakes, back in 2007, when they were first touting this technology, the company, Norfolk Southern, was pumped about these brakes. All right, they were excited about how safe they were and how efficient they were going to be, and that they told their investors at their little meetings and all that they were going to be putting this on all their trains and that they were going to have the safest trains and stuff out there. And so once the company starts to adopt that, they put it on some trains. They say we're going to put it on 30 at first, and then the government says, well, we're going to mandate this for everyone in the industry. And immediately the company switches. They flip the switch and they're like, oh, we don't need to mandate this over the entire industry. Then they start working against the government to put these mandates. What's interesting to me is what happened was
the price went up.
That's one thing. You mandate that they got to have them. Then the people that provide those brakes, they charge whatever the hell they want to put the brakes on. The other thing is Norfolk Southern. I'm glad you said that because I forgot about that part. Norfolk Southern, they were excited to tell their investors about this competitive advantage they were going to have over their competition, and that they were going to have safest trains, and they could tell the people that were shipping their hazardous materials or any of their materials, they're like, hey, we got the best trains. There's 150 million derailments every single year, and it's not going to be us.
They could charge more money.
Yes, they can do that.
Then they have, yeah.
And then when the government says, no, we're going to mandate this for everyone, they're like, oh, no, we don't want to all do this, because then they lose that comparative advantage with all their competition. I just thought it was pretty interesting. In that case, this train might have had the electronic brakes on it if they wouldn't have tried to mandate them, because the price wouldn't have gone up and they would have been able to have that advantage over everyone.
So you can blame the Department of Transportation.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Although I'd be blaming Obama and not Biden, VP Biden. This is Vice President Biden's fault.
This it is, yeah. Much like Ukraine.
The other thing I wanted to mention was that this is new technology, as I said, 2007-ish.
Also, would it have worked on that car?
We don't know.
Fire.
We still don't know.
It could have burned the electric components that would have connected the brakes to it.
That's the other part. You still don't know that would have stopped this from happening. And the other thing is, shit happens. I've seen Forrest Gump.
Mm-hmm.
We know that.
Yeah.
Like it happens sometimes. So we know that. This is also new technology where you're saying like 20 years ago, they couldn't mandate this. And you couldn't hold them responsible for not doing it because it didn't exist in the first place. And so it still would have just crashed. So thank you to whoever invented it. So that's a good thing. What?
They're posting
crazy stuff out there.
Oh, not Black Sheep. Tommy Boy.
Okay.
Where he does the sales pitch.
Oh my God. New guy's in the corner puking his guts out. That's a great one. Yeah, the stuff happens. Okay. Yeah. So whose fault is it? Well, you got to put it on the company still because it's their responsibility to make sure that things like this don't happen. Unless this was intentionally sabotaged by people in the union who were literally warning about this happening just a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. All right. So it's still on the company. And what should happen now is they messed up their cost-benefit analysis on whether or not it was worth it for them to make the investment and put the electronic brakes on all of their trains. And that cost-benefit analysis needs to be readjusted for them. To me, as long as you can find that the fault is theirs and that this wasn't sabotage, wasn't intentionally done by someone in the union, which they would still have some responsibility for it, I know.
I mean, I heard it was Russia did this.
It probably was.
That's what I heard
Yeah.
also from...
Oh, it's a Trump train.
It's
That's what it was.
Yeah.
There was too many people getting on the Trump train at the same time. So that's one thing. But I guess to close this out, because it's 4 p.m. on Valentine's Day, they need to pay for all of the cleanup, clearly, all of the damages, clearly, any of the damages in people's house. If the smell was so strong that it ruined people's furniture, they need to pay for all of that. If people lost work, they got to pay for that. If people move away from the town because they're scared to have their animals live there, they need to pay for all of the future damages associated with that, including everyone who's got businesses that live in the area and any relocation fee for anyone who lives in the area. If the cloud went over any other towns and they can prove that it came down and it killed animals, or years from now, they can prove that it caused cancers, and it's got to be that this caused it because those cancers do still exist in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they got to pay for all of that stuff, every single bit of it. And so it's still on them. It's their train. It's, even though you could say it was an accident and this stuff happens, that's part of it. And that's the market.
Where there are victims, there are crimes.
Yes.
So as a victim, you should have to pay, or if you create victims, you should have to pay restitution to those victims.
Yeah. Now,
I don't disagree with that at all. And that's actually what would actually solve these types of problems, because then train companies have an incentive to operate safely so that they don't impact or harm other people's lives.
Like what people are saying, well, they spent all their money on stock buybacks instead of making their trains safer. Well, they did a calculation. They said it's better for us to spend this money on buybacks, and they put dividends in there too. Are you trying to tell me that all of the people who own a portion of the company shouldn't ever be able to get paid dividends off of the company's profits ever?
Yeah.
What kind of socialist are you? Like all the people who own the trains of production, that they can't ever take a percentage of the profits? Like, yeah, they pay dividends to shareholders. Of course they do. Stop demonizing this.
Which is how it should be.
But anyway, they make that calculation. They say, well, we got $100 billion and we're going to put that towards this. Or what companies in the future can say, Warren Buffett's company can say, well, remember that company, Norfolk Southern?
Used to be a competitor.
Yeah. Remember them? Well, they didn't put these brakes on their train, and now they all lost it. And that guy, he jumped out of the building over there too. And so they're like, well, maybe we should put the money towards the brakes.
Yeah.
That's how the market works.
They should get some Callahan brakes.
Exactly. There's a guarantee, not on the box, but it's backed by Tommy and his late father.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all, if you enjoyed today's episode of Confusion.
It was confusing.
And fun. It was fun.
Honestly, this is like I had more fun doing this.
It was a fun show, you know? And if you think volcanoes don't exist in Ohio, because they don't, then you should go sign up at joingml.com. Join the Fed Haters Club. Joingml.com. New website launching tomorrow. GodHatesFeds.com. You can go there today. Tomorrow will be even better. GodHatesFeds.com. Go check out some new merch. Support the show in any way that you can. For those that are cheap or may have been laid off or anything like that, you can support the show freely by sharing it with a friend, a family member, or a foe. You can watch our social media accounts. You can share those videos. You can leave us a review. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube, anywhere you want to. And that's how you can do it for free.
Even just hitting like on a Twitter post. You don't have to retweet. I get it. You don't want your friends to see like, oh, why do they retweet 5 things a day from this one page? That's kind of weird. You just hit like.
Just hit like.
It tells the Elon Musk algorithms that this is content that someone liked, quite literally.
Those are all the free ways to support, and we would appreciate every single one of them because we love every single one of you. And if you do all that...
Even Costco?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you do all that, we'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.
How bad do you have to pee?